So I thought we'd experiment and go a little bit further into terrain. I'm going to wrap up here and call it quits for the night. So we will see how far we can get. Pressing F1, going into editing mode, and going into new map. In later videos I will cover lighting, I will cover all the other fancier stuff. This is more the real basic, the basic stuff right now. I might even change the title to reflect that properly. So I'm going to click out an area. So let's see how this works. So I'm pressing and holding Y, scrolling with the mouse wheel. Okay. So that's the scale we get just with one square. If we highlight 4 squares and we press Y. Okay, so I don't know how you are going to control the scale of a texture on something. If you don't press Shift plus 0, you only reveal texture one face at a time. You only put a texture where you selected it. Pressing Shift 0 will allow you to select, and then when you press Y, now you'll see that everything within those cubes has that texture. So for the whole cube to be textured with whatever you selected for any part of the cube, press Shift 0 and turn texture all faces on. Turn that off if you want to only put the texture on the face of the cube. And it's press and hold Y and then the scroll wheel to go through textures. And then it's P to get into a paint mode and paint and blend textures, which we'll cover in a more advanced tutorial later. To load your own custom textures, that's a very good question. I don't know how you would go about doing that. I do know that if you have a texture, oh, I know how to do it. Okay, we'll go over that real quick. Alright, when you load a texture, it'll be at the bottom of your list, just like when you load a model, it'll be at the bottom of the list. So let's go over to loading a texture real quick. I didn't save this information this time, so I don't know if I can remember it all. But what I did, when I had a texture, I think I stuck it in here one time, but it would probably be best to put in the textures. You would stick your texture folder in here, like this guy did, and now you've got all these textures in here. And all you have to do is double click this, and texture 0, and then the path, and then the name of the texture. And these are some of the options that you can set for each texture. S for shader, N for normal map. I don't remember what Z is. And I think 0 is just like the default. But that's how you load it up. You just have your stuff in here, and you can add these options or not. But the texture 0 and the path and the name are necessary. Put the path and name in quotes. And the set shader std world should also be at the top of the file. And I would advise putting your username here and then having different kinds of packages that are related inside of that folder and using that. Yeah, see, this was without all that fancy stuff. Hello, that's not all you have to do though. You have to go and you have to load that. So using your auto.exec file, you would go in here to data, and you would go in here to default map settings, and you would copy whatever one of these is, because you want this to show up in your list of textures. You would put it here, and now you type in your name. So let's say I had a texture in the directory, which I don't right now, so I can't demonstrate this beyond to show you. And that's what I would type if I had a texture named someTextPNG, and that would be packages, textures, my username, and then of course if there's a package, then there'd be a folder here. So if we had, let's say, textures in an ancient theme, and maybe this would be temple floor. We'll just be random here. So now you've got temple floor in the ancient folder, off the Dream Bliss, off the textures in the My Packages directory. And your textures need to be in increments, they need to be, how do I put it in? They have to be even numbered, and generally they use units of 16. So 16 by 16, or 32 by 32, or 48 by 48, or 64 by 44, or 1024 by 1024. I don't know how big you can go. You could try 4096 by 4096. And then you can also do any combination of those, like 1024 by 512 or 1024 by 32. But try to think of it in units of 16, even numbers. And I don't know what the limits are for Sandbox, so you'll have to keep an eye on that. And you can also, think what they call bake textures to a mesh, and then load the unfolded map of the texture, and then apply that, have that applied to a mesh. I did that once with SumCube. I had an unfolded kind of a T or cross shape of the different faces for that cube, and then I was able to apply that to the mesh. So that covers textures. It's not the best tutorial in the world, doesn't show any practical examples because I haven't gone very far into this right now, but we'll do more advanced stuff later.